Am I the asshole for forcing my family to babysit so I won't have to? I'm 19, female, living at home, working a part-time job, doing some freelance stuff and taking some online courses, all in preparation for attending college next year. My sister, 25, female, had her first child 8 months ago. The father isn't involved and only pays child support. My mum is excited to have her first grandchild and is constantly offering to look after the baby so my sister can feel at ease working full-time, and afterwards, will have some time for herself to relax. The thing is, about 70% of the time I'll be the one looking after the baby, and while I admit that I enjoy it and like spending time with him, I can't help but feel mad because they don't have any consideration for my time. Mum would drop the baby while I'm in the middle of my lessons because you can always watch the recordings later, or just ask someone to tell you what it was about. Or when I'm working in my freelance stuff because looking after the baby doesn't really require much, when I complain about getting delayed in my projects. My breaking point happened last week when my mother and sister left the baby with me for a whole day because I mistakenly told them I didn't have to work and would be staying at home to catch up with some pending stuff and study. I told them both irresponsible and they called me a spoiled brat. That night, my grandma and other members of the extended family were calling and sending me messages about the importance of helping family, and to understand that my sister doesn't have it easy being a single mum. I got mad and sent a message to the family group chat saying that they were right, helping family is important and we all should be supportive of my sister. I then proceeded to write a schedule in which all of us could take care of the baby. Because one aunt goes to visit grandma on Mondays and Wednesdays mornings, they could babysit those days. Eldest cousin and her siblings are at their home Fridays afternoon. Well, they can babysit that time, and so on. I left Saturday mornings and Tuesday evenings as my time to babysit. My sister and my mum were very pleased with the arrangement. The other family, not so much. And when someone pointed out that my sister didn't get the baby for a whole day, discussions about my sister being an irresponsible mother started, with my mother trying to defend her. Am I the asshole for causing this? How come they were expecting me to be my sister's unpaid nanny, but then they get offended when the same thing is being forced on them? I may be the R because I caused this and don't regret it one bit. Update: okay, a lot of things happened. Honestly, I'm still not in the mood to provide a full update. The main points are, my sister did try to impose the babysitting schedule one made and the family wasn't happy. Mum, sister and I had a big discussion, hurtful things were said on both ends, and I'm currently staying with my best friend and his girlfriend, total sweethearts, but not a feasible long-term arrangement, even though they have said I could stay with them as long as I need. The family is complaining non-stop and I'm feeling guilty because technically, I'm the one who caused this by creating the schedule in the first place. Maybe I should just sucked it up, and I do really feel sorry for my nephew. All the family usually gets together on Sundays, and this time, my grandma's eldest daughter, mum's eldest sister, is coming from another state. This is kind of like a big thing since she's grandma's golden child, in a good way, and kind of like the leader of the family. I'm both hopeful and nervous. If someone can solve this shit show, is her, but at the same time I'm worried about her blaming me like everyone else. I'll provide a full update then. Also, sorry for not having the time to answer all the comments and private messages. Like I said, a lot of things happened. But here's some of the questions some people asked. My relationship with mum and sister, it was pretty good before my sister got pregnant. We, sister and I, always knew that she was more favored by our mum because they had more common interests, while it was the same case for me and my dad. This wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Think it more of a if one of us wanted to visit a friend or in specific favor, we knew which parent to ask. We would actually team up sometimes to convince him of something, me appealing to dad and sis to mum. Sadly, dad passed away 5 years ago. He was an amazing father and we were absolutely heartbroken, but the one good thing that came out of it was that it helped us bond. Dad loved classical music and was really into IT and programming. I would go to concerts with him and he got me into gaming. After his passing, mum began to buy tickets to classical concerts and the three of us would go together as a way to remember him. We also went to watch Super Mario movie because my dad would have loved to be there, even if sis and mum knew little of the franchise. So, things going this bad makes me pretty sad. My job, I work part-time at a kids' after-school academy. We tutor them at the subjects they find hard and help them do their homework and prepare for test. My freelance job is video, audio editing for my best friend and his girlfriend. Both are streamers, content creators. They know about my Reddit post but ask me to leave out their personal details, so please don't ask for their accounts. I do one weekly video for her, and 1 or 2 for him. Do I pay rent? No, I don't. Dad had a hard time with his family, and while my sister and I didn't know the details and I NC with them, we kind of imagine what went down. Dad left the house to mum and make her promise to make it a safe place for us, sister and I. They decided to accept us for paying rent as long as we cover for us expenses ourselves. Sister and I cover our groceries, cell phones, some services, and I pay part of their gas whenever they give me a ride because I don't have a car. 4. Extended family. As I said, we are not close with Dad's family. Mum, 50, is the third of 4 siblings, eldest aunt, eldest uncle, deceased, was the father of the cousins I mentioned in my first post, and young uncle, 39, single. Grandma is currently 77. 5. My nephew's dad, he and my sister were together for about 2 years. When she found out she was pregnant and wished to keep the baby, the relationship ended, as he is child-free. A paternity test was conducted after my nephew was born and he was the father. He pays child support as has no contact with the baby. His parents, nephew's paternal grandmother and grandfather, do keep in touch, and by what I was told, along with the rest of their family, didn't approve of his actions regarding my sister and nephew. So far, they don't know what's going on, and I didn't involve them in the initial babysitting schedule because I'm sure that would have been another whole shit show.
Am I the asshole for ruining my mom's engagement party after she abandoned me when I was 11? I, 17 male, have a strained relationship with my mom, 35 female, after an incident that happened about 6 years ago. My mom was super strict and a helicopter parent, so we fought a lot over my grades and the trouble I got into at school. She had essentially abandoned me, signing over custody to my dad after I had told her something along the lines of, "I hate you," and "I wish I lived with Dad." Typical things an angsty preteen says to their parent. But that fight seemed to have broke her and she cried before dropping me off at my dad's apartment. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal and I would just see her the next day after she proved her point, but she left me there. After that, things got essentially worse for me. My grades dropped and I kept getting into trouble at school, almost to the point where I was kicked out. My dad never had job security, so money was tight. His girlfriend also wasn't fond of me, saying I was dumped on them. I wanted to go back to live with my mom. I thought to apologize, but my mom had essentially moved on with her life. She went back to college to get her degree and was always studying, and later on was focused on her new work. On the weekends I would get to see her. Things were tense between us. She tried so hard to be the fun parent, eating takeout and leaving me to do what I wanted, but it was so unlike her, and we became more estranged. 3 years ago, she started dating Paul, 39 male, a widower with 2 daughters, 9 female and 13 female. She started treating his daughters like they were her own and they started calling her Mummy, which irritated me. Eventually they moved into my mom's house and changed my childhood bedroom into one of the daughters' room. I was livid when I found out, saying some mean things about the girls, and refused to go back there for my mom's weekends, but she was confused on why I was acting this way. Because of this fight, she thought I wouldn't be attending the engagement party when she announced her and Paul would be getting married. Besides, she didn't want there to ruin the perfect picture of her new family. I made it a point to go for the party and called her out on her behavior. I wanted to confront her and tell her she wouldn't have to bother with me after I go off to college, but I may have taken it a tad too far. Everyone kept talking about how Paul's daughters were like her children and how it would be when she had more kids, and it snapped something in me. I called her a horrible parent and told her she was trying to replace me with the little brats after she had abandoned me, along with some other insults I don't really remember. Paul kicked me and my dad out, saying I was an asshole for making his fiancée and girls cry and ruining the engagement party. He said I won't be allowed to the wedding unless I called and apologized. I may have taken it a bit too far, but my dad agrees she had it coming after abandoned a young child at an age when I needed my mother. Am I the asshole and should I apologize?
Am I the asshole for slapping a teenager? I 32 female was at a water park this last weekend with my husband 32 meters and my daughter. We were in one of the pools practicing swimming and keeping to ourselves. There was a group of teen boys there and, while I was working with my daughter on swimming, one of them came up behind me and I felt the tug on the strings of my top untying it. I spun around, saw this 15 to 17-year-old with a smirk and slapped him. This quickly caused a scene. The park staff got involved as well, the boys' parents, who were livid at me. My husband and another lady saw it happen and confirmed that he really did grab my top. There was also camera around the pool that kind of show it. wasn't the best angle. Dubois' parents threatened assault charges and I threatened sexual assault charges if they decided to go that way. Eventually, we were both asked to leave and haven't heard anything since. My husband though still thinks I overreacted a bit, which I don't. Am I the asshole?